Hey, what's happening, everybody? Steve Looney back from GraphicDesignerTips.com. This is episode number 4 of my new professional logo design series. And what's really great about this series, compared to my logo design bootcamp series that I did a few years ago, where that these logos are actually logos that I designed for clients of mine, and they've been through this whole professional process already. And there's a lot of rules and things that I have adhered to and that I'm going to be going over in this episode that you're going to learn from, because the whole goal is to help you learn things, learn from my experience, and learn how to make some money in the end. But before I get into critiquing this, I just want to let you know that there's an extended version of this video where I basically go over the whole entire process of this logo design, the stuff that was involved, basically, from getting the project to sending over initial drafts, sketches, and revisions with the client. So if you want to learn how to make a lot of money designing logos and you got the drive and the motivation, you definitely want to check out my extended course in the description below or on my website. All right, so I want to talk about this real quick before I get into building in Adobe Illustrator, CC 2014. And basically, the company East End Blinds, myself and my client, were both located on Long Island. Now, Long Island is a very nautical place. There are the Hamptons, there's a Montauk Lighthouse, there's lots of beaches. So my client also does business generally on the East End of the island. So when we initially spoke, they really spoke about maybe doing some kind of a sunrise that goes through wood blinds or any type of shades. And obviously, if you look at the final product, you're going to say, well, unless it's the apocalypse, there is no way that the sun is rising and it's like dark red. That'd be pretty damn scary. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is the color scheme we picked in the end, which actually really works out because they really love the color, the reddish, maroonish color, and they really love the browns because it signified, a wood type of blinds. Also, talking about colors, 2 colors is really where we wanted to stay here because of printing issues in the future. We can always juice this up and change it around. If they come out with a new line of product, we can take East End and we can change it different colors and blinds. But the brown and the maroon is really going to work well, like I said, with print and screen printing. It's going to cut down costs. So you always want to, keep that in mind with colors. There is gradation over here, which works fine. We could also make this solid and still going to work fine, but the gradation gives it a little bit of a different feel, a softer feel. I even could have taken that gradation and put it in East End, like I did with blinds right here. But I also wanted to mention that there are 2 fonts in here. The first is called Arizonia. This is from fontsquirrel.com, which has tons of free commercial fonts. Go check them out. And Blinds is a Myriad Pro bold italic. Now, what's cool about East End and the word blinds is the way that it offsets. How you have the C over here, the E over here, and you have the B starting over here. The reasoning is because I wanted to rag it basically around the cord that hangs out from here. Now, what's great about this logo is if you take the words away, this symbol still works very good. It's just a well-balanced logo. It's really fun. My client's still very happy with it. He gets tons of compliments on it. And if there's anything you want to add in the comments, definitely leave them below. If not, let's just jump into the tutorial right here and you can leave them at the end. Okay, so now we're in Adobe Illustrator CC 2014. And CC really stands for Creative Cloud, which is the newest version of the Illustrator software or Adobe softwares in general, but you could really do this in basically any Adobe Illustrator version that you may have. But at the top of the screen, I did add the 2 colors, so you can add those colors into your swatches, which I have already done. What I'm now going to do is I am going to, let's see, we're going to make the blinds first. We're going to come up into the rectangle tool, and we can either do this using the pen tool, or we can make a rectangle. So we're going to make a rectangle. All right, I'm going to make it basically the same height right here. I'm just going to pull this down. We're now going to alter the points on this, and I'm going to put this in black for right now. We're going to hit A on our keyboard and select the bottom left point, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, same thing to the right. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so we know it's going to be uniform. We're now going to select that rectangle again. We're going to zoom in, and we're just going to make a regular rectangle. We're not going to put any angling on it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to select this piece right up here, and we're going to select our gradient. And we're going to make a gradient that is basically brown to a lighter brown. But what we're going to do is we're going to change this brown because if you click on it, you're going to see it's made up of CMYK. We're going to double click it, and we're going to change it from process to spot color. And you're going to see why in a second, and hit OK. What I'm now going to do is, again, I have that gradient in here. I'm going to pull that brown, and I'm going to replace both of these, okay? And what I want to do here is I want to select one of these browns, and I'm going to pull the value down to, say, 20%. 24%. And I'm now going to take the gradient tool, and I'm going to go from the bottom to the top, top to the bottom, excuse me. And we're going to mess around with the levels until we get it to where it's very similar to what I did. Okay, cool. Pull that in a little bit more. If you want more of a fluid gradient, you just have to open that up a little bit. Gradients are fun to play with. I make them very subtle on logos because you don't want to have them too crazy. I'm now going to move this rectangle up so it touches the edge, and I'm going to fill it with this solid brown so it gives it that three-dimensional look right there. I'm now going to take this piece, and I'm going to hit Command G to group it. And I'm now going to go to copy this down twice. So we're going to go Option click, and we're going to shift this down. All right, Option click, and you're going to shift it down and hold Shift while you're doing it. All right. Now you can either do this by eye, or you can select all three of these, and you can come into the Align tools up here, or find them in Window Align. And you're going to hit the tool that basically says Vertical Distribute through the center point, just to center them perfectly away from each other. All right, now what we're going to do is we're very simply going to make line segments, and then these little circles in here. So we're going to take make a line segment. Actually, you know what? We're not going to make a line segment. We're going to make another rectangle. All right, because we're going to need this as a shape. Or we'd like to have it as a shape at least. And we want to go from the top here, and we're just going to stop right about here. We're going to fill it with black. Okay. And we're going to zoom in, and we're going to literally just come into the ellipse, and we're going to make a little ellipse right over here. We're going to fill it with white. We're now going to hit V on our keyboard to get back to our regular arrow. We're going to select this rectangle, go to Select, Object, Arrange, excuse me, Bring to Front. Okay. And that's our first one. And you know what I want to do now? I want to select all three of these and go to Command 2 or Object Lock Selection, so I can't mess around with any of these accidentally. I am now going to go to Option, click, I'm going to shift this over. I'm just doing this visually for right now. You can always measure and clean up later. Because if you spend all the extra time on it and the client doesn't like it, there's a lot of wasted time there. So now I'm going to select all four of these, and I'm going to go to Option, click, and I'm going to shift that down. So look how quickly we made this. What you can now do is you could, if you want, you can go into the Pathfinder and you can minus these images, these pieces out from there. Or what you can do is you can go to Object, Unlock All. Now select all this and go to Command G and group it. So if I grab it, oops, there's the whole piece. It's going to come right with it. What I now want to do is I want to make this shape right up here. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to come into the ellipse tool first. Actually, first we're going to move this down. Then we're going to come into the ellipse tool. I'm just going to make an ellipse, try to get the same arc that I did there. Okay. Cool. What I'm now going to do is I'm actually just going to fill it with that color right there. And we're going to come into here and take a rectangle, and we're going to pull the rectangle over here, and we're going to fill it with white. And the reason we fill it with white is because I kind of want to see, when I cut this out, what it's going to end up looking like. See, if I bring it like this, you're going to see how much smaller it gets on the top. If I bring it down, you're going to see how much bigger it gets. I'm basically hiding everything for the moment until I really do my permanent adjustment on it. So what now all right, this is what I want. I'm going to come into here, and I'm just going to select both of these, and I'm going to make sure there's a line through the center point, because if I don't, I might get a problem when I cut. It's not going to be even. And I'm going to come into my Pathfinder and go to minus front. So I subtracted the front object from the back object, which was the circle. So now that's the only shape that I have left. What I now want to do is I want to come into the ellipse tool, and I want to, I'm just going to make an ellipse. I'm going to make the ellipse right here, and I'm going to show you why in a second. I'm going to flip this to the back, and I'm going to change the stroke to white. I'm going to make that stroke 2 points. I'm going to hit E on my keyboard, and we're going to just scale this down a little bit. Hold Shift and Option while you scale it down. So it goes right down center. All right. Now, the reason I put this offset is because basically I just want to show you how to now recenter it. You're literally just going to take both of these, come into the Align tool, right here, Horizontal Align Center, and then boom, voila. There is our 2 objects right dead center. Okay? What I now want to do is, because this is a line segment, I want to make it a shape. So we're going to come into here and go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. All right, so if I back up first, if I zoom in, you're going to see it was a stroke. Now I'm going to go forward. Boom, now it's a shape. What I now want to do is I want to select the rectangle tool. I'm going to make a little rectangle. Okay. Once again, I'm going to select all these, and I'm going to make sure they are aligned through the center point. All right, I don't want that rectangle to go too much through there. Actually, it's got to be a little thicker. And what I'm now simply going to do is I'm just going to do this by eye. I'm going to create one. I'm going to turn it on an angle. One. Have that go through the top. And I believe there was another one, right? I'm trying to go off my memory. Nope. All right. So we're going to pull that angle a little bit back on that one. Pull this one down. All right. What am I doing? All right. Hold Option and then click it. And then there we go. Okay. My last one is going to be on a lower angle. So pull these out. Now what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to select both of these, hold Shift, and now Option click. I'm going to shift it over here, and then hold Shift while you're doing it, and then come into the Reflect tool right here, or O on your keyboard. I believe it is O, yep. And we're going to click and push it to the right, and hold Shift while you're doing this. So back up again. Hold Shift, click, and now move it to the right, and it flips perfectly over. We're now going to hit V on our keyboard to get back to our regular selection. Hold Shift, and hold V on your keyboard, hit V, click, now hold Shift, and now move this over. Okay? What we're now going to do is we're going to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the way you do that is by holding Shift to all those. Come into the Pathfinder, and we're going to hit Unite. Okay? So now, if you look, we basically have this shape right here that we created. We united all these together. What I now want to do is I want to select that star type whatever united shape that I just did, and then the arc that's behind it that we did before, and we're going to come into our Pathfinder and go to minus front, and basically what that just did was it created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unique pieces. We're going to back up and get it back to where we want it to be. Cool, right? All right, so we're now going to move that down a little bit, and now what we're going to do is I am going to come into here into my gradient, and I'm going to pull that color in, and I'm going to make it go to white, all right? And we're going to literally take the gradient, and we're just going to go, again, from top to the bottom, and we're just going to alter that gradient a little bit. Hit G on your keyboard, hit V, and then G. That's why. Okay. And then just keep messing with the values of this in here. And then you can also play with them in the actual gradient slider, which it's not coming up, and I believe that's because it's grouped. V. All right. Okay, so you get the point. There's a lot of refining in this project, so that's something you want to wait to do near the end. That's bothering me. It's a little bit too light. There we go. Let's see. Up now it's too. If you see on the bottom, you can see the line. It doesn't fade away. So what I can even do is I can pull this in a little bit. That should do the trick. There we go. Okay. What we're now going to do is we are going to create this this chord right here by clicking the pen tool. We're going to click, and we're just going to click right where we kind of think we want it to end. And we can always alter this later. We're going to alter this. And I'm just going to pull this up a little bit. And I am going to hit escape on my keyboard to end that. And I'm going to turn this black. And hit V on our keyboard. All right. What we're now going to do is we are going to create this shape right here. And this could be done in many ways. But simply, we're just going to use the pencil. And if you want, you can just take a screenshot of my screen right now. and you'll be able to trace this. So we're just going to, all right, trace this. The least amount of points, the better. That's how you're always going to get the best curves. That's, if you learn nothing else in this video, that's what you want to know. The least amount of points. It's like it's like a little game. Less points is actually better. Strangely enough, compared to any other game you've ever played. Hit A on your keyboard so you can actually fix these if they're not where you want it to be. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pull this down now, and normally be filled with like black, but we're gonna put that other color in there. I'm just going to put this at the end. Okay. All right. So now I don't like this. It looks really cheesy. This is nice and free flowing. So I'm gonna click this. We'll hit A on your keyboard to get that white arrow, the direct selection. I'm just going to pull this in a little bit to where we feel like we want it to be correct. I'm now going to hit A on my keyboard again. We're going to select this, and we're just going to nudge it to the left using the arrows on the keyboard. And lastly, we're just going to pull that in just a little bit down and to the right. All right, cool. Much better. Now, what I want to do here is I want to come into here. Again, I want to go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. All right, and the reason I want to do that is because I want to be able to pull this in. I want this to hug up against, I mean, I could always have it hide behind there, but I'd rather do it the right way. I'm just going to pull that out a little bit more. Cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit the T on our keyboard, the type tool. We're going to type out East End Escape. Not the word escape, you know. Arizonia is the name of the font you can find on, again, Font Squirrel. And we're going to scale this up. And East End is going to very simply be in that brown. We're now going to go to Option click, and we're going to shift it down. And we're going to type out the word blinds. All in capitals. Hit escape. You see how this font looks terrible when it's all in capitals? That's going to happen a lot with certain fonts. We're going to go to Myriad Pro, Bold Italic. We're going to scale this down a little bit. Let's just see the B is under the A. I'm trying to just get a similar scale. We're now going to go to Object, Type, Create Outlines, all right? Because you can either fill it with the solid color, or you could do what I did, and you can make a gradient. All right, so what you would do is you would pull that solid color in, you would pull it in again over here, and then just in one of the values, maybe black, add some more black, all right? And we're going to fix the gradient like so, and you're going to see that it actually gradates very slightly from light to dark on the bottom. That's just a cool little effect you can give on things. And just make sure I didn't miss anything. It is slightly different, but there's you understand the concept. There's a lot of refining that goes on in the end. Maybe the client says, "Oh, I'll make these a little thicker. You know, the panes a little bit smaller, stuff like that." So, but we have basically finished this entire logo. All right, so thanks again for checking out my episode. Let me know in the comments below what you learned in this video, and definitely click the subscribe button to make sure that you get these videos before anybody else does. The whole goal of this series is to really show you what goes into this stuff, because yes, it may have taken me only 10-15 minutes to really build the logo, but it really takes hours of planning and going back and forth with adjustments and refining the entire piece. It really is hours of work. So, and that's not to, that's not to discourage you, but that's just to kind of prepare you, to let you know if you're going to be doing this for a living and making hundreds of dollars on projects and thousands of dollars a month on multiple logos, then, you know, this is what you're going to go through. And I can guarantee it that you're going to be making more per hour doing freelance work, or you could be making more per hour doing freelance work than you could in a regular job, because once you get really good at it, then you set your own rules. So to learn more about this stuff, definitely don't forget to check out my extended version. It's basically my course, but it has it filters in from this whole entire series to the extended versions of the videos, where I really go in depth to a lot of things and answer questions. There's a forum on there where we're going to obviously be constantly going back and forth. So Any questions, let me know. You can definitely click on the screen right now to get more information about that. If you got any more questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you for the next tutorial video. Have a great night, everybody. Happy designing. Peace.